Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Welcome to the 2020 Stockton State of the City Address. The first time we've had it in person since 2019. It's been a long 3 years, but I'm excited to see everybody out here today, so thank you all for joining us. My name is Tim Quinn. I'm the CEO of the Greater Stockton Chamber of Commerce, and it is my pleasure to introduce our 2020 to 2022 president, Chris Kay, to get us started here. Chris, come on up.
Thank you, Tim, for clarifying that as two-time chamber president. I had to do it since Rick Goucher's not here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. At this time, I would like to call up Pastor Joy Steelman from Oasis Church for the invocation.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have a moment of prayer. We're thankful we're indoors. It's windy, so it's messing up our hair, so we're thankful to be indoors, even though it's warm. But we're going to ask that the Lord would provide a way for us to have a fantastic year, a fantastic afternoon together, and a time together to bring us into a place called unity. We live in a very diverse city, but what we need greater than the diversity is unity. Can we pray together? Heavenly Father, I thank you today for the opportunity to come before your people. And I ask, Lord, that your protection be upon this great city. Lord, I ask that you would put your hand upon all of our wonderful law enforcement officers. May they be protected and guarded as of a shield. May the hand of the Lord be upon each and every one of them. May their families be protected. We also pray for our wonderful mayor, his family. We pray that the hand of the Lord continue to mark truth and mark a fortune together to bring prosperity to this great city. Creative ideas to spark together unity with the city planners, the people in charge. May the hand of the Lord continue to gracefully put upon them wisdom to guide them through. May your hand of protection be upon all of our civil servants, our firefighters, our police, our EMT. May you continue to guide our new chief of police, and may the hand of the Lord continue to bring the right people and remove the wrong people. Father, I thank you for the businesses that will explode in Stockton, California this year. May there be entrepreneur spirit come along this city and guide us to where we need to be to explode prosperity in this city. May you remove every form of corruption. May you remove every form of things that are dishonoring to you, and may the hand of God continue to rest upon this city and upon its people. Father, I thank you that he that dwells in the secret place of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, he is my fortress, my refuge, my God in whom I trust. Surely he will save me from the fowler's snare and from the deadly pestilence. He will guide me with his coverage, and under his wings I'll find my refuge. His faithfulness will be our shield and our rampart. We will not fear the terror of night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence destroys at midday. 1,000 may fall at our side, 10,000 at our right hand, but we will only see it with our eye, the punishment of the wicked, because we choose in Stockton to make the Most High our dwelling place. For let no harm come before us, no disasters near thy dwellings, for you have commanded your angels to take charge of us and protect us in all of our ways. That is our invocation. That is our declaration. We stand upon it today and we declare it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. If you would please rise for the presentation of the Pledge of Allegiance and the National Anthem. Joining us on stage today to present the flags are the veterans organizations, led by Commander Sam Pachuca of Stockton VFW Luneta Post 52, Commander Michael Emerson of AMVETS Post 1947, Financial Officer Andy Whitehead, DAV Al Jordan Chapter 15, and Commander Kevin Temmie, American Legion Carl Ross Post 16. Today's Pledge of Allegiance will be recited today by fourth grader Avery Miller from Presentation School.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Avery. And now for the singing of the national anthem performed today by Lincoln High School senior Monique Churchill.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, thank you, Monique, for that incredible job, and Avery Miller, thank you very much to both of you. And a huge thank you to our veterans organizations for being here and presenting the flags. It's so nice to be able to see people in person again. Just real quick, this is the first time that we've done this event in person since 2019. It has been a long, winding, strange road for us to get back to being together here in person. One question I want to ask for the crowd: how many people are members of the Greater Stockton Chamber of Commerce? If you could raise your hand, show us. How about a huge round of applause? Thank you. I think that number of hands that were out there in the crowd is very important to look at. Over the last couple of years, the Chamber has had to change focus a little bit from not just promoting a healthy and vibrant business community to doing everything in our power to ensure that we had a business community to come back to. The Chamber staff, and a huge congratulations to our CEO, Tim Quinn, and the rest of the Chamber team, did absolutely tireless work over the last couple of years, keeping our business community up to date with changes that were coming down. A lot of times, changes that were coming down from the state at 5:30, 5:45 at night on a Friday afternoon, with changes that were being implemented the following Saturday. Without the work of the Greater Stockton Chamber of Commerce, we really wouldn't have had too much of a business community to come back to. And I want to thank the Chamber team and our Chamber members for continuing to support us throughout these last couple of years. Some of the big highlights is the Chamber took a leadership role in helping with the new regulations and helping out with what businesses could do to stay open, and handing out tens of thousands of pieces of personal protective equipment. We held rallies all over the city to hand out those equipment, face masks, tests recently. And so I just want to thank, again, everybody for supporting the Greater Stockton Chamber of Commerce. This has allowed us to kind of realize what our focus is here in the community, that we're not just a membership organization, but an organization that is really focused on promoting a vibrant business community. So thank you to everybody who has supported us. Thank you to everybody that has been a member. If you are not a member, you can speak to Roxy Jewel Richardson, and she will be more than happy to tell you about all the great benefits of being a member of the Greater Stockton Chamber of Commerce. One of the big economic drivers of our community, and why this is the best city in the Central Valley, is our beautiful port that is hosting us here today. And so to learn more about what the port has had going on, I would like to welcome up Port Commissioner R.J. Allen.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to welcome you here on behalf of the Board of Port Commissioners for the Port of Stockton. our wonderful director, fairly new, Kirk DeJesus, our incredible staff who just do incomparable work in making sure that the port operates well, and the literally thousands and thousands of men and women who receive family wage jobs from working either directly through the port for our tenants or indirectly with the businesses that have an affiliation with the port. We're grateful for all of them. And so we welcome you. I'd also like to acknowledge two of my port commissioners that are here today, Michael Duffy and Bill Trezza, sitting up front. Now, usually this speech is given by the chairman of the Port Commission. Unfortunately, I get a call on Tuesday that our chairman, Anthony Barquette, has tested positive for COVID. Then I get a call that Mr. Duffy was not going to be available to speak. Then I get a call that our port director has been around someone who was tested positive for COVID. So you're not only not getting the first string quarterback or the second string quarterback or the third string quarterback, you're getting the backup long snapper this morning. So I apologize in advance. Please don't be offended. We welcome you all here. This has been an incredible year for the Port of Stockton. It is literally our best year ever in its history. That seems a little unusual when you hear so many problems in supply chain issues. But much of those have worked to the advantage as shippers and merchants have realized that the Port of Stockton is a very good place to ship their goods through, either into or out of the country. And so we have benefited from that. We have moved 4.9 million metric tons of cargo, and we've had over 300 vessels in port in 2021. To put that in perspective, that's about one ship per day arriving here. I don't know if that boggles your mind, but it does mine. We're grateful for the ILWU members that work to get these ships loaded and unloaded, and we're looking forward as they're looking to bring more members in because we need more labor here. In order to keep that cargo moving, we're working to build new infrastructure in the port, including new bridges, grade separations for railways and highways, dredging, dock improvements, and road widening projects. And while moving cargo is the core of our business, we also want to ensure that we're doing our part to make sure we're good citizens and members of the community. We want to reduce our impacts to the areas that are adjacent to the port. This past year, we established a port outreach committee to collaborate with the community in working on common goals. We also are working on a clean air plan that will focus on ways that the port can reduce emissions from vessels, from harbor craft, from locomotives, from trucks, and from cargo handling equipment. Our staff is also busy working on developing an electric vehicle energy blueprint in collaboration with the California Energy Commission. We think it will be provide a blueprint for other ports throughout the state. Our team has worked hard at replacing some of the older diesel-powered equipment with clean, zero-emission technology while goods move. Approximately 60% of the goods movement in the port occurs through zero-emission vehicles. You may have noticed one over here, a 36,000-ton forklift, and one over here, a rail mover, both zero-emission, all electric. These represent some of the equipment that we have, more than 40 zero-emission vehicles, plus 30 charging stations in the port to make sure that they can stay active. We're currently studying alternatives to reduce traffic and eliminate impacts on Boggs Tract and also Washington Elementary School. In order to promote local hiring, we'll be launching a jobs board over the next couple of months that will provide incentives for our tenants and partners to hire from this community. We continue to support our customers and want to serve as an economic engine, and currently we provide over, I'm going to get this number wrong, Kurt, so correct me if I'm wrong, over 6,000 jobs, either directly or indirectly, that are tied to the Port of Stockton. and over $100 million of tax revenues for our local communities. We thank you for coming out today. We'd like to thank the weatherman who happened to provide one of the hottest days of the year for us to sit in a non-air conditioned warehouse and eat our hot lunch. By the way, the food was terrific. Thank you, Papa Pablo's. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your support.
The Port of Long Beach is an essential operation for the local, regional, and national economy. We move about $200 billion worth of cargo value. And in addition, we are a job producer. And it was time for the Port of Long Beach to take action. We needed a green port policy.
Industrial and port operations are going to continue in the future. So the best way to reduce emissions in the nearby communities is through renewable energy and zero-emission technologies to help displace combustion.
We recognize that environmental is not an isolated program. We need to make sure that we're looking at our environmental impacts across all of the choices that we make.
To achieve this huge and momentous goal to eradicate emissions, you need partners. And we're proud and humbled to have so many.
Momentum is a company that designs, develops, and deploys clean technology solutions. We recognize that no single entity or organization can handle the transformation that is happening throughout the nation as we battle climate change.
The START project involves the Port of Long Beach, the Port of Oakland, and the Port of Stockton. The goal of the project is to deploy new technologies that are not yet market ready and to decrease both GHG and criteria emissions along the ports. This project is unique because of the collaborative nature. It isn't just one port going after a grant and deploying it on their own, it's three. And so we're having the chance to see technologies work at different ports in different environments and build better relationships between each of these ports and their communities.
Partnering with the two other ports really helped us because we could collaborate, we could talk about lessons learned from other ports, what worked and what didn't, so that was a huge blessing to us.
The pathway to zero emissions starts with demonstrations. We're doing several different demonstrations, smaller scale, but START gives us an opportunity to build on those, do something larger scale, and really look at how you can incorporate these technologies into operations.
Grant funding like this is so important to help fight climate change because it helps the companies invest in these early stage technologies that are largely unproven. As a whole, this project's technology includes electric yard tractors, top handlers, drayage trucks, gantry cranes, heavy and light-duty electric forklifts, electric railcar mover, Tier 3 dual-fuel low-emission ships, near-zero-emission tugboat.
I think the port felt it was very important to move towards the future, and with this program, the new technology, the port wanted to be at the forefront of innovation and introduce this new electric technology to the maritime industry. We're very proud to have an electric railcar mover with zero or near zero emissions. It's actually the largest railcar mover in the state of California. We're very happy that it lasted a 10-hour shift without a charge.
Every port is a little bit different. We all operate in our own niche and we have our own duty cycles and performance requirements. So it's exciting to see a fleet of 10 trucks right here in Oakland and how they compare to their diesel counterparts.
Deployments like this allow us to see how new technology operates in the real-world environment. The feedback that we get from terminal operators provides the manufacturers with information they can't get from testing these technologies in their warehouses or controlled environments.
We work directly with the manufacturers. They've been out here, they've been watching the equipment work. We give them immediate feedback. They're able to adjust things on the fly, so that's been very helpful for us.
This project is different from other previous electrification demonstrations because it has an unmatched breadth and scale to demonstrate the complete system necessary to support widespread electrification, including the infrastructure, the community support, and the various technologies needed to make this all sing.
Building on that, we need to commercialize these technologies, build a larger market, bring the price point down, and really start integrating them broader scale across multiple different markets, not just in the ports. We've seen dramatic improvements in reducing air emissions, and that all has benefits for local air quality, for community health, and for reducing greenhouse gases as well.
we really want to act as responsible community members. And so deploying this equipment in Stockton is helping to reduce impacts on the adjacent community as well as the greater city of Stockton.
It's super exciting to demonstrate zero emissions equipment and to see our future getting closer to zero emissions.
It really takes everyone united with a bold vision and a detailed plan. And that's what we're doing. At the Port of Long Beach, we want to show that you can choose to grow green, choose to grow jobs, and choose to protect and improve the environment.
Well, not a bad presentation from the backup long snapper. Thank you so much to the Port. Great job, and thank you so much for hosting us out here today. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce to you the Mayor of Stockton, Mr. Kevin Lincoln.
Thank you, Chris, for that introduction. And thank you for all who've gone before me this afternoon. Listen, many ask me, Mayor Lincoln, what's it like to take office? What was it like to take office during the pandemic? Well, I'll tell you, the downside of taking office during the pandemic was the fact that we missed out on great opportunities like this to bring people together. And it never surprises me that wherever I'm at, now that we're in person again, people look at me and they say, man, I didn't realize that you were so tall. Those pictures make you look a lot shorter. So listen, it's a pleasure to be here with you this afternoon. I want to thank my wife and my son, my family, for joining us this afternoon. One thing that many of us don't realize is that when you serve in public service, whether you're elected official or local government, you're not only serving on your own, but it's your family that makes the sacrifices as well and serves alongside of you. So I want to thank my beautiful wife of 20 years, my 16-year-old son, for joining me this afternoon. But we are missing one member of our family, and that's my 15-year-old daughter. There's a couple of things that I always tell my kids, and I've just tried, especially over the last couple of years, tried to ingrain it in their mind time and time again, every time I have the opportunity. One is, as we're driving down the road and we see somebody run a red light, I say, don't be that guy. And two, I tell them, no matter what you're doing in life, no matter what season you are, whatever you do, finish strong. And so my daughter was scheduled to come with us this afternoon and join us. But she came to me yesterday and she said, Dad, she said, we're getting ready to wrap up our school year in just a few weeks. She said, is it okay if I miss tomorrow? Because I want to finish strong. And so as a father, that means a lot to me. And I'm thankful that even now, my daughter has her priorities in order. There will be plenty of opportunities for her to come and join us. Just a couple of quick acknowledgments, and just one main acknowledgement, and I just want to thank everybody for coming and joining us today. It's because of your participation, it's because of you showing up today has made this event a success that it is. We've been on a 3-year hiatus, and I tell you, it is so good to be back in person, seeing all your smiling faces. So you all deserve a nice warm round of applause. I hope you had the opportunity to walk around, experience what every single one of these vendors that are represented here today have to offer our city and San Joaquin County. Every single one of these vendors, every single one of these organizations, every single one of these nonprofits, every single one of these public agencies is what makes Stockton the best city in the nation. to City Manager Harry Black, to the staff that supports Stockton. Your commitment to innovation and creativity is what is and what's going to continue to propel Stockton forward and differentiate us from any other city, not only in the state of California, but our entire nation. Thank you for your work and your diligence and commitment to our city. It is making a difference, and our community will see a result for years to come. To my 6 city council colleagues, it's an honor and it's a privilege to serve alongside of you as mayor of our city. Thank you for each and every one of your commitments to your districts in meeting the fundamental needs of our residents. A special thank you to the Port of Stockton for hosting us today. As you can see, there's a lot of action and there's a lot of activity taking place at the Port of Stockton. And the reality is that the port is one of those great assets that's a part of the Stockton story that is going to change the landscape from here on out. And we thank you for your commitment to not only to this event and continuously making it a success, but also to the city of Stockton. But last but not least, I just want to thank the Greater Stockton Chamber of Commerce. This is an excellent event. This has exceeded all expectations. The vibe is right. The feeling is good, and people are ready to celebrate the success of our city. And it's because of your hard work in creating this opportunity for us to come together that we're able to do that. So thank you to the Greater Stockton Chamber of Commerce. One thing I've realized in my life, serving in the military, serving in the corporate sector, serving as an executive in the nonprofit sector, is that you don't have a great organization without great leadership and stability in that leadership. And the Greater Stockton Chamber of Commerce has had stability in their leadership role of the CEO for several years. But recently, there's a change in that leadership. And Tim Quinn has assumed the role as the new CEO of the Greater Stockton Chamber of Commerce. And Tim, I know you're not expecting this, but we wanted to honor you this afternoon and present you with a certificate from the city of Stockton. So here we go, 2022. Before we enter off into this speech, what's important to understand is the vision of Stockton. Because when you understand the vision, then you have a better understanding of where we're going and the direction that we're going and what is guiding us as a city as we make decisions for our community. And the vision of Stockton is that Stockton will become the best city in America to live, raise a family, and grow a business. And today is our opportunity to reflect on the milestones that have taken place over the last year and understand and gain insight and understand the highlights of what lies ahead of us in 2022 for the next year. We can all agree that the last 2 years, almost 3 years, were some of the most challenging times in our community. Over the past 2 years, COVID-19 pandemic has substantially impacted the city of Stockton. As of May 16th, we recorded over 70,000 cases of COVID, and we've lost over 1,100 members of our community as a result of COVID-19. They may be gone, but they will never be forgotten. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, Stockton came together to provide critical resources, testing, vaccine access to our residents. And we were intentional about reaching our underserved communities and those who are disproportionately impacted throughout our city. To date, 96% of Stockton residents have at least received one dose of the COVID-19 vaccination. And our efforts to make a greater impact in our community will continue through the $78 million of Affordable Rescue Plan Act recovery funds that the city received. We're going to do that and make a greater impact through continuing our COVID mitigation and prevention efforts by implementing community well-being initiatives, investing and supporting our small business, bridging the digital divide through internet connectivity, and funding additional homeless solutions. You see, here in Stockton, the people still view homelessness, even through the pandemic, as the #1 issue, humanitarian issue that is plaguing our city. But what we have to understand and realize as we take steps to address and mitigate homelessness throughout the city of Stockton is that homelessness has impacted all of our lives in one way or fashion, either directly or indirectly, through a loved one or just somebody that we've come in contact with. It reminds me of a story of a gentleman that I met doing some outreach work with our HOT teams, our homeless outreach team. I met this gentleman named Fernando, just in the downtown area. He was actually doing a little fishing, and I went up and I talked to him. I spent an hour engaging him, and he didn't know who I was. But as I spoke with Fernando, I found out that he had a steady income. I found out that he actually had insurance. I even found out through questions that he went to school and graduated with my father. And after spending almost an hour talking to him, he asked me, he said, "Who are you with? Where are you from?" I said, "I'm with the city of Stockton, and we're just out here doing some outreach." He stood back and he looked at me and he said, "Oh, well, man, you're probably a good person to talk to because I hear we have a new mayor, and maybe if you see him, you can share some of these ideas with him." So when I was speaking with Fernando shortly thereafter that, I said, "Fernando, thank you for sharing your heart. Thank you for giving me a better understanding of what your needs are. And Fernando, I'm the mayor of Stockton." And he stood back, he took a big sigh, and then he moved forward and leaned over the rail, and tears welled up in his eyes. And he said, "Can I shake your hand?" I said, "Fernando, not only will I shake your hand, I'll give you a hug." You see, every single one of our unsheltered individuals throughout our city has a story. And every single one of those stories are just as important as the next story. But what's important is that understanding the complexity of homelessness in our community, that we as a community unite and come together and take the necessary steps across the board to meet this very complex issue so that we can help one Fernando at a time. On January 31st of this year, we had our very first point in time count in 3 years. Our point in time count is an opportunity. It's one day, one point in time that the community comes together, we go out and we count the number of unsheltered individuals that are residing in the city of Stockton. Now, the results of that count have not come out yet, but what we do know is that there are still barriers that our unsheltered population face that are preventing them from taking the next steps towards healing in their life. I'm talking about barriers that almost 2/3 of our population, a little over 2/3 of our population, are dealing with some sort of behavioral health challenge in their life, whether that's mental health or substance use disorder.
Through our public, private, and nonprofit partnerships, we have increased shelter and transitional housing units and services and have several projects in process to meet the needs of our unhoused residents. Last year alone, we invested as a city $7 million to support services for shelter and unsheltered homeless individuals and families, $8 million in support of affordable housing, $1.6 million in past-due residential and commercial water bills, dispersed upwards of $40 million in an emergency rental assistance program to help prevent people from becoming homeless in our community. And we funded 24 beds for homeless youth through the Catalyst program with the Children's Home of Stockton. This month alone, we've closed applications for our notice of contingent funding available of $6.5 million for the low barrier shelter expansion in our community that can accommodate pets, possessions, and partners. That's through a collaboration with the county. We've also closed out our request for qualifications for a safe camping and safe parking operator. And we've allocated $5.7 million to launch a crisis intervention pilot program that will provide hotlines, warm lines, and crisis response support for our officers and our teams who are responding to calls for services regarding mental health and substance use and homelessness. These initiatives will aid in reducing barriers to shelter, increasing safety, and improve our responses for our unhoused community. We must have compassion for our homeless community. But it's also important to note that their rights do not supersede the rights of law-abiding Stocktonians. So we, as a council, are committed to improving the quality of life for everybody in our city, and that's non-negotiable. One, the impact of providing a solution and an opportunity for one person to take the next steps towards healing in a life is what's going to make the difference. As we consider public safety in the city of Stockton, in 2022, we saw a 23% decrease in homicides, a 12% decrease in property crimes, 8% decrease in violent crimes, and a 21% increase in non-fatal shootings. That's in 2021. In 2022, we've experienced an unprecedented amount of violence that has swept our nation, and Stockton has bore its share in its weight. In 2022, the city of Stockton to date has experienced 62% increase in homicides. Injury shootings are down 4%. And our Stockton PD has confiscated over 388 firearms from our street. But what's notable and what we can't forget are the 21 lives to date that we've lost as a result of senseless acts of violence. And on January 31st, the city of Stockton suffered another loss, one of the most hard losses that our city has ever experienced, and that was the loss of Captain Max Fortuna with the Stockton Fire Department. Our deepest condolence and support continue for his family. And I want to thank the community for showing up and showing out for the family and coming together like we've never come together before to make an impact and to provide hope for our city. But also on April 18th, we lost an angel, a 15-year-old young lady at Stagg High School, an angel in Lala Renaga. I know she's up in heaven right now looking down on us. And her legacy will live on. In the light that she shined so bright in the city of Stockton will continue to radiate throughout this city for years to come. One life lost to senseless acts of violence is one too many. And I call upon all Stocktonians to continue to pray and support the victims and each and every one of their families. Violence in our city has taken lives. It's destroyed families, and I'm here to tell you, enough is enough. The city of Stockton and our public safety departments are working diligently, and it's imperative that our public safety departments have the necessary information and resources that they need to do their jobs effectively. Stockton does have a solid crime prevention strategy through our ceasefire model, our intelligence and planning, ballistic analysis and investigation, our neighborhood impact team, our information sharing, and our enhanced traffic patrolling. We will continue these strategies with the understanding that the status quo is not acceptable. It reminds me of a conversation that I had as our community came together following one of our recent homicides outside of King Elementary School at an apartment complex. And after the event was over, I had the opportunity to speak with one of our constituents that lived in the area. And I'm gonna tell you, she knew who I was, and she did not hold back. And I stood there and I listened to her for at least 20 minutes. And I listened to every single word that she said. But what struck me the most was the comment that she said, where she was thankful for the overwhelming show of support. She was thankful for the resources that were brought to the community. We had ice cream trucks there, unlimited access for all of our kids. She said, Mayor Lincoln, the reality is, we're not thirsty, we're tired. Our city is tired. And I said it already, enough is enough. And I have full confidence that we're gonna move our community forward and that we're gonna provide the safety and the security that is needed for our residents. Now listen, we're pleased to welcome our 50th Chief of Police in Stan McFadden on June 1st. And I look forward to his vision and leadership and what he'll bring to our police department as we work towards our goals of reducing crime and blight throughout our city, recruiting and retaining a qualified and a diverse workforce, and increasing trust between the community and the police, which is of the utmost importance. And as we head to bring this speech home, I want to talk about economic development for the city of Stockton. Over the last decade, Stockton has recovered from bankruptcy and shifted our narrative from economic uncertainty to one focused on lasting prosperity for all residents. At the same time, during the past 2 years, COVID wreaked havoc on our community. We've experienced detrimental impacts to our small business community and suffered the profound health and economic impacts of COVID-19. The unemployment rate in our community at the height of the pandemic rose to 17%. Today, the city of Stockton is strategically situated for economic recovery. In fact, our unemployment rate is estimated to be at 6.2%. Stockton is ranked the 4th most fiscally healthy city in the entire United States. Given Stockton's resources, which one of them we are here at the Port of Stockton, our rich cultural diversity and strategic assets through our rail, our interstate, our education system with the first chartered university in the state of California with the University of Pacific, our airport. The city has an opportunity to become a thriving 21st century city for all. This is our moment for the city of Stockton. We're excited for the growth and investment opportunities ahead. However, the bankruptcy left us with a backlog of maintenance all throughout the city. Many of our neighborhoods and parks were long overdue for repairs, renovation, and rehabilitation. The City Council allocated $9 million to address 50% of the backlog of sidewalks and 25% of the backlog of tree maintenance across our city. In the last year, we've invested in our parks, our playgrounds, our baseball fields, and our pools. And upon project completion, families will be able to enjoy our public spaces again. And our city council is committed to prioritizing these types of investments. As we envision what a 21st century city looks like moving forward, we have to understand that 35% of Stockton households are without internet access, and 8% of Stockton households do not have a computer. The days of internet access being a luxury are no more. It's an absolute necessity for our residents to take advantage and for our community to thrive and move forward, and we can see the type of economic prosperity and growth through the families throughout the city of Stockton. To begin bridging the digital divide in Stockton, we've invested over $8 million towards internet connectivity, launching our digital equity program that provides public Wi-Fi, free public Wi-Fi in public spaces, getting over 1,500 Chromebooks out to those communities and families who don't have them, and providing internet access for those families as well. In addition to our digital equity program, City Council has invested nearly $10 million of American Rescue Plan Act funds to support economic development. The funding will support the goals of our recently adopted Economic Development Strategic Action Plan that's anchored in 6 key areas. 1 is telling the Stockton story. 2, supporting small business. 3, continuing to build our thriving entrepreneurship ecosystem. 4, attracting and retaining high caliber business, and making data-driven decisions and defining our role in workforce development. And after 15 years as a city of not building a single new hotel, we have 3 hotels that are being added to the city of Stockton's inventory. 1 is Studio Suites that just opened, adding 102 rooms. We have a Hampton Inn that's under construction right now as we speak, that's gonna add an additional 114 rooms. And we've recently approved an annexation of a dual-branded hotel suites, adding 140 total suites, 81 suites with Fairfield Inn Suites, and 60 suites with Town Place Suites. Stockton is building, folks, and Stockton is on the rise. We have new developments in our town at Westlake Village, Santorini, and Cannery Park. We're building new apartment complexes off of 8 Mile, 168 units. Off of Murata, an additional 216 units. We're adding housing in our downtown area with the most recent opening of our Liberty Square apartments that service and provide homes and housing for our veterans. And under construction, Downtown, we have our Grandview Village, Hunter House, the Rural Building, and Cal Maine. Small businesses are also the backbone of our economy. And we're investing over $8.6 million over the next 2 years in support of the opening of the International Food Hub featuring women entrepreneurs. Our entrepreneurship grant program that launched this past Monday for local entrepreneurs, startups, small businesses, and organizations. Business also investing in our business facade program that's coming this summer, small business relief grants, nonprofit support, and marketing efforts across the board. For our city to thrive, to pursue our full potential, and accomplish each and every one of our goals, our active roadmap to success must support all residents and communities within Stockton. We must apply an equitable and inclusive lens with the implementation of each initiative. And organizations rooted in our very diverse communities must have a seat at the table. I'll conclude with this. The most recent population total for the city of Stockton ranks us as the 11th largest city in the state of California. %30 of our population is under the age of 18 years old, and more than half of our population is under 35 years of age. And the average age of a Stocktonian across the board is 39 years old. We have a young city. We're a city on the rise with a bright future and a plan that when we execute, our kids, our grandkids, and their kids are going to benefit from this season that we're in right now. But as we think about the future of Stockton, I shared those stats because what we need to understand is the future of Stockton is in our youth. And it was important for me to have over 30 high school students from all throughout the city who are leaders in their high schools represented here today and in attendance. Because we want you to know as a city is that we see you, that we care about you, that you are a priority for this city, and that you are the future leaders of this community. And it's right now, today, is where we start engaging you in the civic process so that one day you could become the next mayor of this city, the next city councilman of this city, the next business owner of this city, and you could be world changers for years and generations to come. This is your city just as much as it's anybody else's city, and I am proud of each and every single one of you. Because where I've never experienced what each and every one of you students have had to experience over the last couple of years, with 2 teenage students, myself, I can't understand what they went through, but what I could tell them is that I love them, I support them, and I'm here from you. And what I tell each and every one of our students in the city of Stockton is that city loves you, we're here to support you, and we care about each and every one of you, and we are investing in your future. And we're gonna start that investment this summer by launching our $4.3 million scalable workforce development program for young people throughout our city that's gonna train and develop young professionals that are going to be able to step in to these roles and help spur and drive our economic development and prosperity for the city of Stockton. So that's seed money, and the best is yet to come. We're proud of you. We love you. Keep up the good work and keep making a difference in your schools. So I started with Stockton will become the best city in America to live, raise a family, and grow a business. And I end putting every Stocktonian on notice, putting the state of California on notice, and putting the entire nation on notice is that Stockton will be the best city in America to live, raise a family, and grow a business. Not only will we be the anchor of San Joaquin County, but we will be the example for the rest of the nation to follow in a post-pandemic world. God bless Stockton, God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America. I love you. Thank you. You may be seated. You may be seated. Now here we're going to transition to the Key to the City recipients for 2022. The first person that I would like to call to the stage, and I would like for their council member representative to join us up here, because it was important for me to engage our council members in this process and to make sure that we had great representation from our city of all the individuals who are doing incredible things in our community and making a difference and an impact. So I'd like to invite Joe Nava to the stage. Mr. Nava is a longtime Stocktonian, having invested 41 years of his career into education and physical education, teacher and basketball and football coach. During his tenure, has worked for Fremont Middle School, Franklin High School, Edison High School, Stagg High School, and currently serves on the Lodi Unified Board of Education since 2008. In 2003, Mr. Nava was inducted into the Mexican American Hall of Fame, and in 2005, he was inducted into the Stockton Sports Hall of Fame. Thank you, Mr. Nava, for your commitment to our Stockton students. This is not Mr. Nava. But I imagine you're up here because you're accepting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Joe couldn't be here tonight, this afternoon. He wanted to thank Stockton for this great honor. I too agree. Thank you, Stockton, for honoring Joe. He's an amazing guy, and he wishes he could be here. I'm Ron Freitas. I serve on the Lodi School Board with him. And thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, City of Stockton.
Excellent. Our second Key to the City recipient, and I'd like them to begin to make their way to the podium, is Rick and Rosemary Demas. Mr. and Mrs. Demas have entered over 1,000 Ask Stockton requests, making them affectionately known as Mr. and Mrs. Ask Stockton. Mr. and Mrs. Demas are lifelong Stocktonians who not only have a huge family here in Stockton, but also a huge heart for this community. After serving his country in Vietnam, Mr. Demas settled down here with his wife, Rosemary, and started a family. They have contributed countless hours to this community through the East Police Advisory Board, the American Legion Carl Ross Post 16, and the Auxiliary. Because they have so much Stockton pride, they have done their part to help beautify this city by using the Ask Stockton app. Once they learn how to file a request using the app, they have been able to directly benefit all of Stocktonians, one request at a time. Our city relies on these reports of citizens to adequately address the needs throughout our community. Thank you for your commitment and impact on our city. Through your reporting efforts, you are making a visible difference throughout our community. The Demases were Vice Mayor's nomination for Key to the City. And this one, I didn't know Vice Mayor was going to nominate the Demas family. But this one's a little bit personal to me. Is because when I was a young sixth grader, I would spend my summers with the City of Stockton Parks and Recs at Anderson Park. But I learned how to play basketball at Seaford Center. And it was Rick's late brother, Joe, who was one of my first coaches, who taught me how to love and play the game. And I grew up with his son, Isaac, who was a very close friend of mine. Just thank you again for your service to our community and just everything your entire family does and has done for the city of Stockton. God bless you both. Thank you.
I want to thank Councilmember Christina Fugazi for this great, great, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for all the help. And what I want to say is, yes, I put in over 1,000 requests through Ask Stockton, and I invite every one of you to join Ask Stockton to help us clean this city up. It is very important. We have like the mayor was talking about, this city is important. Let's all of us join. You know what Stockton looks like? Let's do it together, one block at a time. Thank you very much.
No worries. Now I would like to invite to the stage Sharon Benninger and Chanu Mehdi, founders of Uplift Foundation. Sharon and Chanu have been serving Stockton's homeless community for over a decade. They started out distributing Christmas socks filled with gloves, caps, and necessities at St. Mary's Dining Hall. During their time serving the homeless, they recognized an incredible need to clean clothes as many of the individuals they met did not have access to laundry facilities, leaving their clothes soiled. This began their journey in developing their mobile laundry van, Loads of Hope. Today, they service hundreds of people with freshly washed, dried, and folded laundries each day. Thank you for caring for our most vulnerable population and meeting a critical need that are restoring hope and dignity to those throughout our community.
This is such an honor. So I'm Sharon Benninger, and this is Chanu Mehdi, and we are the co-founders of Uplift All Foundation. And on behalf of our homeless community and the board for Uplift All Foundation and our most dedicated volunteers, especially Jean Azevedo with Comcast and Ron Amador, who operates our Loads of Hope van daily. We are humble and so very grateful. Jesus calls us to help the poor, and that's what we are all doing as we reach out with our caring hearts to make this hurting world a much better place. So thank you all for everything you're doing, because we love Stockton.
Our vision is to mitigate homelessness, and it's a unique issue that creates walls between us and our fellow citizens. But from inception, our mission has been to immerse ourselves into this community, listen and learn to their specific needs, and understand the etiologies of this dilemma. So on any given day, our team is committed to getting to know the people we serve and acknowledge them for the promise they have and provide the crucial tools that will kickstart the process of reintegration into our society. And our goal is to give each and every person, each and every one of these people, a meaningful and purposeful life. And so with that, we had started doing classes, and then we moved on to Loads of Hope mobile laundry van. And with that, we have orchestrated a wide variety of services from clean clothes to primary physical and mental health care. And our vision for the city now, where if we can, all Stocktonians come together to create a self-sustaining village that will transition the homeless through any barrier, including mental illness, addiction, or economic hardship. And we once again thank you very much for recognizing our efforts. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, thank you.
Our next Key to the City recipient is Carl Tolliver. Carl Tolliver retired from the Stockton Unified School District in 2012. In his 39 years in education, he held the positions of teacher, high school principal, director of secondary education, deputy superintendent, and 2 separate terms as a district superintendent. He has experience in all aspects of school operation, building management, curriculum development, instructional leadership, and district administration. Following his retirement from public education, Carl has remained active in community leadership. He currently sits on the board of directors for the First 5 San Joaquin, Teachers College of San Joaquin, and Community Partnership for Families of San Joaquin. Thank you for your investment into Stockton students and the mentoring you have provided to your employees and colleagues.
Councilman Wright indicated to me that, Carl, you only have 2 minutes. And you know, you folks that are in education, you love to talk. So I'm going to stick to your directions. Kevin Lincoln, you're absolutely right. Finish strong. And all the folks that are volunteering their time and services to the betterment of the citizens of the city of Stockton, as well as San Joaquin County, you make the difference. So I thank you for this esteemed honor. I am delighted and pleased, although I know that there are so many deserving individuals and in organizations that could be standing here. We are a community, dedicated citizens who want to enhance the city. Excuse me. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your leadership in steering the city. I want to especially thank Vice Mayor Fagassi and Councilman Dan Wright for nominating me. And Dan and I worked very closely together for many years in Stockton Unified School District. Dan had my back, and I had his. Dan has always put his heart and soul into making things better for students, staff, and now the community. Before I forget, let me introduce those at my table. Of course, Councilman Wright and his wife Grace, my wife Marguerite, my son Brett and his wife Juanita, and my closest friends, Rupert and Gail Asuncion. Rupert and Gail Asuncion, they have been my closest friends for the last close to 50 years, since 1973. It's pretty close. So I spent my career in education after the 3rd retirement from Stockton Unified. I felt I need to continue serving the needs of the students and future students, as indicated by the mayor's remarks of the committees that I serve on. I also want to acknowledge an area that just happened to come to me. I have been very comfortable talking and sharing with men the importance of being a rock and a support for women, their spouses, their partners, their relatives, their friends. Going through breast cancer, this is an area that needs much more attention. My wife, Marguerite, is a 3-time breast cancer survivor and has spent a great portion of her life supporting. She spent a great time of her life supporting and advocating for women with breast cancer and those who need a shoulder to lean on. So men, it is not just a woman's journey. Join the journey. Again, Mr. Mayor, thank you so much for the honor.
Next, I'd like to invite to the stage Francisco Ornelas. Francisco has committed his home and service not only to South Stockton, but the entire Stockton community by providing food and much-needed supplies to the elderly and communities impacted by COVID-19. His humble dedication and commitment to our most vulnerable communities is both heroic and inspiring. Thank you for sharing your home, resources, and time with the Stockton community. Your impact is seen and felt across our city.
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to thank God and the support of the community and my wife. I'm from Douglas Type Ministries. We've been doing this way for a long time. There's a lot of families in need out there. And we're there front from the morning to the end to provide for these communities and families less fortunate. And we'll continue doing this. Conway, Filbert Arms, Kentfield, and Flor Places, the rest of San Joaquin County. So resources are available. Families in need, just reach out to us on our webpage from Dark Side Ministries and other nonprofit organizations in the community. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to invite Operation Des Strong to the stage. Operation Des Strong is a nonprofit child service organization comprised of veterans, medical professionals, amputees, and caregivers dedicated to improving the lives of children through financial and emotional assistance for prosthesis. Most children outgrow a prosthetic device in only 8 to 12 months after receiving it. And most insurance companies will deny coverage on a second device within a 6 to 18-month time period. That means the burden of cost, anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000, falls on the caregivers of that child. Operation Des Strong is dedicated to helping families pay those additional costs not covered by their insurance so that they can focus on what's most important, helping their children get back to doing all the things that they did before their amputations. Thank you for everything that you guys do.
Thank you very much to the mayor, to Mr. Canepa for the nomination. This is something that we didn't really want to start, but unfortunately it fell into our laps. Our son went to basic training and got sick and developed a rare disease and almost took his life. While he was in the hospital in Texas, a military hospital, a young boy named Jonathan from Indiana who had the same disease and was also an amputee, wrote him a letter and drew him a picture of inspiration. We became friends with the family, and together the two moms came up with this beautiful idea to help children. We're new to this, we're growing, we need the support from our community. We are out there to help anybody, any children who needs the help with with prosthetics and emotional support. We're here for you. Again, thank you all for this nomination, Mr. Mayor, and I just want to say, listening to everybody and being a Stocktonian for my entire life, Stockton is still someplace special, and we can make this city great. Thank you all.
Our final Key to the City recipient for 2022, and I'd like to invite to the stage Jesus Velasquez. On May 11th, 2021, Officer Jimmy N was killed in the line of duty while responding to a domestic violence call in the 400 block of Cresta Way. Jesus Velasquez was nearby as the event was unfolding and witnessed the gunman attempting to strangle his own child. Jesus heroically intervened, tackling the gunman to the ground and saving the young boy's life. If it weren't for the actions of Mr. Velasquez, we may have lost another life that day. Thank you for your sacrifice in sacrificing your safety and risking your life for the sake of another. Our city is eternally grateful for your actions on that tragic day. Thank you, Jesus Velasquez.
I just wanted to say thank you, because I'm not much of a person with words, or good with them anyways. So all I can say is thank you for this. And that's it.
So Tim, am I closing it out or what? Or Chris? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for this opportunity. It's an honor to serve you as your mayor. God bless you all.
All right, how about another huge round of applause for our mayor? Thank you for that inspiring message, and a huge round of applause to all of our Key to the City recipients. For our Key to the City recipients, if you could, before we get out of here, we just want you to meet over here to take a group photo. A big thank you to all of you as we close up here today for joining us in person again. A big thank you to Papa Pavlos for providing the food. Efcharisto Parapoli. A big thank you to G-Force Productions. A big thank you to the Port of Stockton for hosting us here again. And a big thank you to all of our sponsors for helping to make this event possible and supporting the Greater Stockton Chamber of Commerce. So with that, please enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you again in person next year. Thank you.